Hello, my name is Abby Arledge, and I'm doing the educational giant Horace Mann. Horace Mann was born in Franklin, Massachusetts on May 4th, 1796. He was born into a family with less money than most, and so Mann grew up having less than most of the people around him, which allowed him to become self-reliant. He didn't have much schooling until he was age 20 when he decided to get a tutor to catch him up so that he could apply for Brown University. After his tutor, he did apply to Brown University and got in. 3 years after being at Brown University, he graduated as valedictorian. Shortly after he graduated from Brown University, he went on to get an education in law at the Litchfield Law School. Shortly after his schooling there, he was admitted to the bar in Norfolk, Massachusetts. Um, a few years after his admittance to the bar, Mann was elected to legislator. Um, he was really successful in this job. He was able to set up a state lunatic asylum at Worcester. He was elected to the uh, in 1833. He was elected to the Massachusetts State Senate from Boston, um, which he worked hard in everything that he went into. Um, During his time of elections, he married Charlotte Macer in 1830, but she died shortly after they got married. About 2 years after they got married, she died, and um, quickly after that marriage, Mann remarried to Mary Tyler Peabody. Um, where he made his biggest impression on education was when he was elected to the Board of Education in Massachusetts, which happened in 1837. This was the position that really submerged him into education. He wasn't really interested in it until he got this position on the Board of Education. He took the job really seriously, and he quit all politics and the jobs that he had at the time. He really wanted to make education better for the students that were attending. He personally visited every school in Massachusetts to examine the school grounds, and he founded and edited the Common School Journal, which allowed him to publish his 6 problems with public schools. The 6 things that he discussed were: public schools should not remain ignorant, education should be paid for, controlled, and sustained by the public. Education will be provided in schools that embrace children from a variety of backgrounds. Education must be non-sectarian. Education must be taught by the spirit, methods, and discipline of a free society, and education should be provided by well-trained professional teachers. Since those were his 6 things that he was worried about education, he really worked hard on those. He set up a school, I guess you would call it, for teachers to attend so that they could learn how to better teach their students. He also wanted to get higher pay for teachers so that they're willing to do the extra work it took to be a better teacher. He changed the school age so that students were attending school until the age of 16. And he also worked to get better school buildings for um, the students to learn in so that the environment was better. He also wanted to get a wider sense of curriculum. He wanted them to learn as much as they possibly could while they were attending school. He ended up going to Europe on his own expense so that he could look at the schools there and really understand what was making them successful and how we could adapt that into schools here. When he came back, he took a few of the things he learned there and applied them to Massachusetts schooling system. He really liked the Prussian education system, and so he adopted it shortly after he returned from Europe. And New York did the same to test it out in some of their schools. Um, he really wanted to not he wasn't an educational giant in the fact that he wanted to think of a new way for students to learn or a new way for teachers to teach. He just really wanted to make education kind of an equalizer for everyone that was involved in it, something that everyone had the common grounds on. Everyone was learning the same things so that our society could really work together instead of separately. Um, he was kind of drastic in some of his views. He wanted school to not only be for the learning of math and reading, but also for discipline for those that weren't receiving it in the home. And this kind of stirred some people. They didn't want morals and values to be learned through teachers, but rather through their own homes, which is understandable for those parents. But I think that man did have a good idea in the fact that teachers could be more than just for math and English. He ended his career at the Antioch College, where he taught economics, philosophy, and theology. And he worked as the president of Antioch College until he died. He wasn't an educational giant that started out as an education activist, but that is really what he became. And he worked hard on making things better for the public schools, and he was really able to get money backing for public schools and to make things flow smoother for educational systems. And he was also the first to set up libraries for the schools, which is something that we still see today. A lot of the things that man set up in his time are things that we still see throughout schools. And I think that his contributions of setting up libraries and making sure that public schools are really what they need to be is what really changed the education system. And that's all. Thanks.